My beloved sisters in Islam, today I want to share something beautiful with you. Something that reminds us of the unique honor, strength and dignity Allah places in the heart of a woman who is chosen by Him. Not every woman carries these marks. They are subtle, hidden, but powerful signs. They are not stamped on your skin, but engraved deep within your soul. These are the marks of the chosen women. The first mark, her heart is connected to Allah. She finds peace not in the words of people, but in the words of her Rabb. While others run to the world for comfort, she runs to her prayer mat. When she raises her hands in dua, she believes Allah is listening even when no one else is. That is the first sign. Her heart is anchored with tawakkul, with trust in Allah. The second mark, she guards her modesty. Not just in how she dresses, but in how she speaks, how she walks, how she carries herself. She knows her worth is not in her appearance, but in her obedience. She walks with haya, with dignity. She lowers her gaze not just with her eyes, but with her heart. The third mark, she forgives even when it's hard. Not because people deserve it, but because she knows the reward lies with Allah. A chosen woman knows that holding on to grudges burns the soul, so she lets go not out of weakness, but strength, because forgiveness is the way of the strong. The fourth mark, she remains grateful in difficulty. She thanks Allah not only when she's given, but also when things are taken away. Her tongue doesn't complain. Her heart is patient. She understands that tests are a sign of love from her Creator, and that Jannah is not cheap. The fifth mark, she uplifts others without dimming her own light. A chosen woman is not threatened by another's success. She inspires, she empowers, she speaks goodness. When another sister falls, she doesn't mock, she helps her rise. Her character shines in private just as much as it does in public. The sixth mark, she protects her time and her circle. She knows time is a gift, and not everyone deserves a seat in her life. She chooses friends who remind her of Allah. She avoids gossip, idle talk, and places that weaken her faith. She is focused because she knows the journey to Jannah needs discipline. And the seventh mark, she worships as though she sees Allah. Her prayers are not rushed. Her tears fall in sujood. She finds peace in the silence of the night when everyone else is asleep, and she is calling out to her Lord. Her ibadah is sincere. She doesn't need to be seen by people. It is enough that she is seen by our Rahman. These are the marks of the chosen women. And maybe, my sister, you carry one of them. Or maybe you carry all of them. Or maybe you're still on your journey. But never forget, Allah chooses who He wills. And today you have the choice to rise to be among those hidden gems, known not by the world, but cherished by the one who created it. A woman whose heart is deeply connected to Allah lives her life in a state of awareness and consciousness of her Creator. Her every thought, decision and movement is grounded in her love for Allah and her yearning to please Him. This connection is not something that comes and goes with moods or seasons. It is consistent, firm and ever growing. Her heart beats with the remembrance of her Rabb, and her soul finds no peace except in His nearness. When trials come her way, she doesn't collapse. She turns to Allah with patience and dua. The world may offer her temporary solutions, distractions or escape, but her first response is to say, Hasbunallahu wa ni'mal wakil, Allah is enough for me. She believes in the promise of her Lord even when things around her seem to be falling apart. Her trust in Allah is not based on whether she gets what she wants, but on her certainty that Allah knows what's best for her even when she doesn't understand it. This woman doesn't need reminders to pray. Her soul craves salah like the body craves air. Her heart is not settled until she stands before her Lord, even if for a few moments in the quiet of the night. She raises her hands in dua not out of habit, but out of deep need and love. Her relationship with Allah is not dependent on ease. In fact, the more she is tested, the closer she gets to Him. She knows that hardship is often a bridge that leads her closer to Jannah. She is not swayed by the noise of the world. While others chase fame, validation and approval from people, she seeks the approval of the Most High. Her actions are hidden between her and her Lord. She does good even when no one is watching. She gives in secret. She fasts when others don't know. Her tears fall in sujood, not for show, but because her heart is overwhelmed by the mercy of the one who never leaves her side. This connection to Allah gives her strength people can't understand. They may wonder how she carries herself with such calm, how she smiles through pain, how she holds on when everything tells her to give up. What they don't see is the private moments she spends with her Lord, whispering her fears, pouring out her sorrows, seeking guidance and finding comfort in His words. Her strength is not hers, it is a gift from the one she has surrendered her heart to. She lives with purpose. She knows this world is not her home. Her goals are not defined by the standards of society, but by what pleases her Creator. When she dresses, she asks herself if it pleases Allah. When she speaks, she watches her words. When she's alone, she's still conscious of her Rabb watching her. Taqwa is not just a word to her, it's her way of life. Her heart trembles with the verses of the Quran and softens with the stories of the righteous women before her. She looks up to them, not to influences or trends, but to the ones Allah elevated through their sincerity and submission. Her connection with Allah makes her gentle, not weak, humble, not small, confident, not arrogant. She knows her worth because she knows who created her. She doesn't chase love from people who don't value her soul. She seeks the love of the one who created her with care, who shaped her with wisdom, and who sees her every tear and every struggle. This connection protects her from the chaos of the world, from the doubts that try to creep in, from the voices that try to define her. In times of confusion, she turns to the Quran, not just as a book of blessings, but as her personal guide. Every verse speaks to her, every command shapes her, every reminder pulls her back when she starts to drift. She finds herself in the stories of Maryam, of Ashia, of Khadija, women who held firm to Allah and were honored in ways no worldly title could ever match. And when she sins, and she does, like all humans, she runs back to her Lord with a heart full of regret and hope. She doesn't justify her mistakes, she admits them, learns from them, and asks for forgiveness with a sincere heart. Her connection with Allah is not about being perfect, it's about never giving up on His mercy. She knows that as long as her heart keeps returning to Him, there is hope, there is light, there is love. A woman of modesty carries herself with an inner nobility that shines beyond physical appearance. Her modesty is not just in the way she dresses, but in the way she lives, speaks, and interacts with others. It is a reflection of her heart and her understanding of her worth in the eyes of her Creator. She doesn't seek to be noticed by the world, she seeks to be protected, honored, and elevated by Allah. Her modesty is not a restriction, it is her shield, her crown, and her power. When she dresses, she does so not to please society or trends, but to obey her rab. She understands that beauty is not in revealing, but in preserving. Her clothing reflects dignity and purpose. She doesn't expose her body for the gaze of others because she knows that her value is far beyond the eyes of the world. She walks with grace, not trying to attract attention, but to maintain her honor. Her dress is loose, simple, and elegant, not to show off, but to protect her heart and soul from being reduced to an object. Her speech is also guarded. She speaks with purpose, not to impress or entertain in ways that lower her value. Her words are soft, clear, and filled with sincerity. She avoids gossip, sarcasm, and vulgar jokes because she knows that every word is recorded. She understands that the tongue is a reflection of the heart, and she does not allow her tongue to be used in a way that displeases her Lord. She avoids flirtation, excessive laughing in public, and any conversation that may compromise her haya. Her silence is often more powerful than 1,000 words because it carries the weight of wisdom and restraint. Her body language is calm and reserved. She doesn't use her walk, her hands, or her expressions to seek attention. She avoids unnecessary interaction with men and keeps her distance with dignity, not arrogance. Her modesty doesn't make her cold, it makes her careful. She is aware that every gesture carries meaning, and she ensures that her presence never invites the wrong kind of attention. When she enters a place, she does so humbly. When she sits, she does so respectfully. When she moves, she does so with purpose. In private, she is the same as she is in public. Her modesty is not a performance for others, it's a consistent trait born from her consciousness of Allah. Even when no one is watching, she observes her limits. She knows that modesty is not about being seen, but about being sincere. A relationship with her Lord guides her in the moments when only He sees her. She protects her eyes, her ears, her thoughts, and her heart from falling into what displeases Him. She avoids entertainment that promotes shamelessness and constantly purifies her intentions. Modesty also shows in how she carries her desires. She does not run after love or attention from the opposite gender. She keeps her heart guarded, knowing that real love comes through halal means. She values her purity, not just physically but emotionally. She doesn't allow herself to be used, misled, or chased by temporary feelings. She seeks the type of love that brings her closer to Allah, not further away. And until it comes, she is content, patient, and focused on her growth. She also shows modesty in her achievements. Even when she is successful, intelligent, or talented, she remains humble. She doesn't boast, nor does she look down on others. She knows that everything she has is a gift from Allah, and she uses it to benefit, not to dominate. She stays grounded no matter how high she climbs, because her heart is attached to the giver, not the gift. Her modesty also allows her to respect others. She doesn't judge or mock, because she understands everyone is on their own journey. Her humility keeps her compassionate. She advises others with gentleness, not harshness. She leads by example, not through force. She lowers her gaze not only with her eyes but with her attitude, and she lifts others up through her kindness. This modesty doesn't make her weak, it makes her powerful. Because when a woman guards her modesty, she is guarding her soul. She is building a fortress around her heart that only the worthy can reach. She is protecting her peace, her faith, and her relationship with Allah. She is not hiding herself, she is honoring herself. And her beauty, her strength, her character, they all shine from within. A woman of strength is not the one who never breaks, but the one who learns to stand after falling. Her strength is not shown through loudness or defiance, but through her calmness, her composure, and her trust in Allah during times of pain. She has faced trials that could have crushed her, but she chose to respond with patience and grace. What sets her apart is not that she has lived a life free of hardship, but that she has carried her hardships with quiet dignity. Her strength lies in her ability to forgive and her gratitude even in difficult times. She forgives not because people always deserve it, but because she knows the weight of grudges on the soul. She doesn't let bitterness grow in her heart, even when others wrong her deeply. She understands that holding on to anger only delays her peace. Her forgiveness is not a weakness, it is a reflection of her understanding of Allah's mercy. She forgives because she seeks to be forgiven. She doesn't wait for apologies to release her pain. She lets go of the desire for revenge because she knows Allah is the best of judges and the best of planners. When people hurt her, she doesn't respond with hate. She responds with dua. She prays for healing, not only for herself, but sometimes even for the one who caused her pain. Her soul is too vast, too pure, to be imprisoned by the chains of resentment. She has learned that peace comes not through fighting every battle, but by picking the ones that matter in the eyes of Allah. Forgiveness for her is not just a gift to others, it is a freedom she gives to herself. Gratitude is her second shield. She doesn't wait for life to be perfect to thank Allah. Even when things go wrong, even when her heart aches, she finds something to be grateful for. She trains her eyes to see blessings in disguise and her heart to submit to the wisdom behind the delay, the loss, or the unanswered prayer. She thanks Allah in moments of joy and in moments of silence. Her gratitude is not conditional on outcomes, it is rooted in her faith. She sees every test as a reminder that this world is temporary and that Allah's plan always carries goodness even when it is hidden. She does not complain often. Not because she doesn't feel pain, but because she chooses to speak to Allah before anyone else. Her conversations with her Lord are raw and honest. She sheds her tears in sujood, not for people to see, but because she knows that her Rabb understands every unspoken word. Her strength is built in those private moments of surrender where she chooses patience when she could choose despair, where she chooses gratitude when she could choose to blame. Even in the small daily struggles, she remains firm. Whether it is the exhaustion of caring for others, the weight of responsibility, or the pressure of expectations, she does not allow herself to drown in negativity. She lifts herself through remembrance. She fills her day with dhikr, not just as words, but as anchors to keep her grounded. Her anvulillah after a hardship, her astaghfirullah after a mistake, and her la hawla wa la quwwata illa billah in moments of overwhelm are signs of her deep inner resilience. She understands that this life is not meant to be without trials. She remembers the stories of the prophets, the patience of the righteous women before her, and the promises of Jannah for those who endure. These reminders become her strength when her own fades. She doesn't see pain as a punishment, but as a pathway, a journey that can bring her closer to Allah if she remains sincere, steadfast, and thankful. In her dealings with people, she reflects this strength by responding with calmness when provoked, with kindness when ignored, and with mercy when others expect retaliation. She doesn't lower herself to the level of hurtful behavior. She rises above, not to show superiority, but because she holds herself to a higher standard, the standard of a believer. Her character is not reactive, it is deliberate and mindful. Even in her personal battles with her own faults, desires, and regrets, she practices self-forgiveness. She doesn't carry the burden of guilt forever. She learns, repents, and moves forward. She does not allow her past to define her, but she uses it as a lesson to grow. Her strength lies in her ability to transform her pain into wisdom, her scars into reminders of Allah's healing, and her losses into doors that lead to better things. Even in her personal battles with her own faults, desires, and regrets, she practices self-forgiveness. She doesn't carry the burden of guilt forever. She learns, repents, and moves forward. She does not allow her past to define her, but she uses it as a lesson to grow. Her strength lies in her ability to transform her pain into wisdom, her scars into reminders of Allah's healing, and her losses into doors that lead to better things. A woman whose worship is filled with sincerity and discipline has a special connection with her Creator that transcends rituals and routine. Her salah is not just a checkbox in her day, it is the highlight of her existence. She does not rush through her prayers as though they are burdens, but approaches them as meetings with the one who loves her more than anyone else ever could. She prays not because she has to, but because her soul longs for that moment of stillness in front of her Rabb. Her sujood is her sanctuary, where her tears are safe and her heart is understood. She makes time for prayer no matter how busy her day is. Whether she is tired, overwhelmed, or carrying the weight of multiple responsibilities, she doesn't compromise on her salah. It is not something she fits into her schedule, it is what her schedule is built around. She guards her prayers with care, knowing that salah is the first thing she will be asked about. She strives for khushu not by force but by training her heart to be present. She reflects on the words she recites. She allows the Quran in her salah to penetrate her soul. She slows down, she breathes. She connects. Her discipline extends beyond the 5 daily prayers. She rises in the early hours of the morning when the world is asleep. While others rest, she seeks closeness to her Lord through tahajjud. In those quiet moments, she pours her heart out, asks for guidance, seeks forgiveness, and thanks Allah for every blessing. Her tears fall not from sadness alone, but from the overwhelming feeling of being in the presence of the most merciful. She knows the value of Qiyam al-Layl and what it does to soften the heart and renew the spirit. She fasts not just in Ramadan, but on days when others forget. She embraces the sunnah fast, not out of habit, but because she feels the sweetness of sacrifice for the sake of Allah. She refrains from food and drink, but more importantly from foul speech, arguments, and negativity. Her fast is not only physical but spiritual. She feels the hunger of her soul to be purified. She understands that fasting is a shield, a way to discipline herself, to silence desires, and to build taqwa. Her relationship with the Quran is constant. She recites it not only with her tongue but with her heart. She reflects on its meanings, pauses at its verses, and lets its guidance shape her behavior. She does not seek to finish the Quran quickly, but to allow every word to settle within her. She asks herself how each verse applies to her life. She lets it correct her when she slips, comfort her when she's hurting, and inspire her when she's weary. She knows that the Quran is not a book of the past, it is her map, her light, her source of strength in every situation. She makes dhikr a part of her routine. Her lips remember Allah throughout the day, not just with set phrases, but with heartfelt presence. When she wakes up, she remembers Him. When she leaves her house, she places her trust in Him. When she eats, walks, drives, or faces challenges, she turns to Him. Her heart is constantly whispering His names, not because she's perfect, but because she knows she is constantly in need of Him. Her soul feels empty without that connection, and she fills that space with remembrance. She takes care of her wudu as a sacred act. Even the smallest actions are performed with care and love, knowing that Allah sees her effort. She doesn't see ritual as mechanical, but as meaningful. Every drop of water that cleanses her is a symbol of the purification of her heart. She pays attention to intention. Before every act of worship, she checks her heart. Is it for Allah or for others? Is it sincere or seeking approval? She holds herself accountable before anyone else can. Her discipline also shows in the way she avoids sins quietly. She doesn't announce her struggles or parade her efforts. She guards her eyes, her ears, and her limbs because she knows these are all forms of worship. She watches what she consumes, what she says, and what she follows. Even when temptation is strong, she chooses obedience, not because it's easy, but because she knows the reward is with Allah. She has trained her nafs to submit to her Creator, not to her desires. She sees worship not as a burden, but as a gift that transforms her character, strengthens her resilience, and keeps her grounded no matter what happens around her. Her sincerity is hidden between her and her Lord. Her discipline is built over time, step by step, struggle by struggle, with the hope that every act, no matter how small, is accepted by the One who sees it all.